Welcome to Psych, a video presentation presented by Group 3. Do you ever wonder what is the relationship between physiology and psychology? To give you an example, a person who is experiencing a panic attack can be explained in a form of physiology and psychologically based on scientific facts. First, we have to know what psychology is. Psychology is a branch of science that deals with the study of human behavior and mental processes. However, the definition of psychology has drastically changed over the past century. This is where the history of psychology became essential. Back in BCE, Aristotle has done a lot of work which dealt with topics such as sleep, senses, dreams, and memory. Hundreds of years later, a French philosopher named René Descartes proposed the mind and brain being separate, where the mind is the non-physical and the brain is the physical, a dualism. To move on and know the relationship between physiology and psychology, physiology studies the functions of a specific part in a living organism, human body. Hence, psychology elicits other sciences such as physiology. William James introduced functionalism. Functionalism stressed the importance of how human behavior functions to allow people to adapt in the environment. It does not limit the method of introspection. In fact, it expands the scope of psychology research to include direct observation of living creatures in natural settings. Functionalism also focuses on the conscious experience rather than identifying the fundamental structures of consciousness. Hence, consciousness is an ongoing stream of mental activity.
In the principle of psychology, the I self reflects what people see or perceive themselves doing in the physical world, whereas, on the other hand, the me self is a more subjective and psychological phenomenon referring to individual reflection about themselves. In conclusion, psychology helps people to explain why they act the way they do, thus enabling one to improve decision-making, stress management, and acknowledge past behavior based on self-reflectiveness to predict future behavior. Since human beings are vulnerable to any changes, and having the ability to adapt is essential to the way they live. Back to the relationship of physiology and psychology. Assume that a patient experiencing a panic attack or anxious, where the patient breathes fast and deeper, which his physical state will react and compensate by exhaling too much carbon dioxide. The patient will be diagnosed with symptoms of respiratory alkalosis, hyperventilation, and motion. To consider the condition, the patient is having a hard time to think normally due to the suffering and may face a worst-case scenario. Thus, to prevent this, the NSG intervention can be done psychologically to help the patient. And those are the following. First, to calm the patient. Second, encourage the patient to express feelings and emotions. And last is to establish rapport to create nursing-patient trust. And to the breakdown of the topic, psychology doesn't only hinge on advances in physiology, but also contributes to the assessments of the patient in nursing. Therefore, psychology reflects physiology.
And that's all for the psychology in the perspective of nursing. I hope you learned something.
I am Kristen Kate Nabatak Salisa from BSN 121.
And Ashley May Prado from BSN 121, together with my co-members.